Okay, so I'll just start. Let me just check this. So today we're talking about the AHA Halo um from AHA Harmony. Um and I'm your host, Amal Douglas. Just gonna check my slides there. Okay, so what we'll talk about in this webinar, these are what we'll talk about. We'll talk about Scalar itself, what we call scalar energy, because this is a scalar machine. We'll talk about scalars and healing. About the creation of this device, the hardware and interface, using the software, and then a couple of things that we can also do to do with water charging and imprinting. And then I'll talk about peptides, which some of you will see that that's become quite a big thing in frequency biresonance circles and elsewhere recently. If you have questions, they go in the Q&A. Um, there's a Q&A, and I'll try to get to them. I'll get to them at the end, the Q&A. And if we and now also we have Zara who is manning the chat, and she will also maybe chip in if anything comes up in the chat. Put the spotlight on Zara. Thank you, Zara. Okay. So just about myself, I I did spend some of my early years in Jamaica, and I worked in the family business as a bus conductor, bartender, shopkeeper in the early days. That was very eye-opening. I studied business and accounting, and then I came back to the UK, and I worked in that field for quite a while. Um, and then while that was happening, I started my first business venture, a travel agency for those who know London, it's in Paddington in London. And then I went into shipping. And then not that long afterwards, we got into a place for those of you who know London, a place called Brixton. We had a unit there, a couple of guys coming together, doing lots of different businesses, and one of them ended up being me distributing health products around London, spending all day driving around selling to shops. And eventually, we got into making our own tonics called natural system tonics with Chinese herbal formulas, Chinese and Western herbal formulas. This is a long time ago, and I used to sell them on the weekends um, in a place called Camden Market, a tourist spot in London as well. But so that I used to be spend my weekends there selling the tonics and other stuff, and also driving around selling stuff around London. While that was happening, I did manage to I moved to Norwich at some point, and then I've been involved in writing. I write a lot, and I've written a few books, not to do with bioresonance or frequencies, but more to do with financial side and sort of politics and maybe religion and so on, things like that, and some plays for children to perform. Um, and then I got into Olympic sprint business coaching because I love athletics. So my business coaching was called Olympic Sprint Business Coaching because I love to talk about the link between preparing to sprint and preparing for business. It's you can see me getting passionate already. But while that, I've always myself and my wife have always done health workshops. We've always hosted health workshops with and we've invited different practitioners to come and speak and showcase things, equipment and methods and so on. We've always kept a hand in doing that, and then I was introduced to not some equipment, Spooky 2 and some other equipment I was introduced to by uh, one of the guys that was actually, I think he's in the chat somewhere. I think I saw his name, Mr. Markland. Introduced me to some equipment, and we ended up with Spooky 2, which you might know is a sort of sister company, if you like, or mother company of Harmony. And then that got me into setting up what I've always wanted to do, my own clinic. So it's Mizan Bioresonance Natural Healing Clinic, and the the related equipment to this is at the heart of it, but we do other things as well. So that's about me. And we should talk about healing with frequencies because the halo is that. And just most of you know this, but just to kind of catch up, if you like, everything resonates. Everything, solid objects, they have a resonance. They have a sort of inner uh, vibration, if you like, that they have. Everything resonates. And this includes um, pathogens and our body organs. I'm not talking about the pulsing, that's different, the actual, their own resonant frequency. And what happens is if you find the right frequency, if you find the frequency of a pathogen, you can play that frequency into your body. And if you play it in the right way, it can kill the frequency, it can explode the frequency and kill it. And with your body organs, which work in a different way and different levels of frequencies, if you find the optimum frequency, what your spleen sort of should be at, and you play that into your body, it will help get that organ back on track. We call that entrainment. Now, Royal Raymond Rife, sometimes people call this rifing, sending those frequencies to the body. People often call rifing because of this man, Royal Raymond Rife. You can see on the picture, the black and white picture. And he was an engineer, he was scientist, he did many things. And he developed what we now call a Rife machine, this way of looking at pathogens. He developed a microscope first, the universal microscope, in a way that he could see pathogens that no one else could see, or for the first time. This and he was able then to experiment with frequencies and see how they reacted. And he realized he could, with the right frequency played to the pathogens, some of them would explode and so on. It got to the point where he played with cancer cells, and then eventually he was given, I believe, 16. This is like late 20s, early 30s. He was given 16 cancer patients from 4 different clinics, and it was either, I think, between 6 to 8 weeks or something like that. But 12 of them, I believe, were I always get this messed up actually, but I have the exact figure somewhere. But yeah, but 12 of them were showing all clear after something like 2 months, right? And then the other four were treated all clear from cancer. And these were terminally ill cancer patients. And then the other four he treated for a further 4 to 6 weeks, I can't remember, and they showed all clear. So you can see all the headlines that were there, the end of all diseases, all kinds of things. But the forerunner to what they call the FDA in America now, which was I think ran by the I was going to say Rothschilds, the sorry, it's not Rothschilds, not the Roosevelts. Sorry, coming to be someone else who put that. Rockefellers, thank you. The Rockefellers. I knew one of you would know. The Rockefellers, they put a lot of pressure on him, and they put a lot of pressure on all the doctors that supported him, and they were threatened with being struck off if they continued to support him. And so you can imagine how that sort of went underground. Some of his equipment was confiscated, and it just went away. But then we had a moment, people like John White, uh, others obviously started making what they call Rife machines that would generate these frequencies. And John White's the man behind Spooky 2. Obviously, the other people who've been behind him as well all the way. But and if you know Spooky 2, it has different ways, different delivery methods of getting the frequency into your body. And Scalar is one of them. There are some Scalar boxes. And then you can also change the different waveforms, etc. Yeah, so Scalar is one of those ways of getting things into the body. So that's where we're now. So what is scalar? Obviously, by the dictionary, it's having magnitude, a scale, a measurable scale. But scalar waves are characterized as longitudinal waves that travel through space in contrast to the transverse waves of traditional electromagnetic radiation. Scalar, in this instance, is produced using a double coil system with opposing magnetic vectors with their sum equaling zero and not producing additional EMF. Scalar energy expands outward in a circular fashion. Unlike electromagnetic waves, scalar waves do not decay over time or distance from the source. Very important. They can pass through metals and other solid objects, capable of carrying and transmitting information, capable of generating energy. And I say not measure with modern devices, but I do know there are people I've seen on certain forums saying they are managing to work out where the scalar field is. Um, and I've seen that with that. I had one of those. I don't know if you know, you have these lamps that you can touch to come on and touch to get brighter, then touch to go off. I had one of those, and it would come on whenever it came into the scalar field. It would turn on. So I suppose there must be ways of measuring it. Some people call scalar different names, 0 point energy, um, Tesla waves, scalar waves. So different names for what people call scalar energy or scalar waves. So I always say this, is it a discovery or a recovery? Historically, people's names like James Clerk Maxwell and Nikola Tesla especially uh, are brought up when you mention scalar waves, and Nikola Tesla was creating energy, wanting to create electricity and things like that using this sort of energy and waveform. So he went very far, and his name comes up a lot. To some degree, Einstein, but not in the same way. There are modern people here who talk about it now. You might know some of these people. Dr. Constantine Mail, Glenn Ryan, Jerry Tennant, some of you might know. I think he talks about the body electric. And Tom Palladino has his own equipment. He does something with Scalar, and I think he uses the pictures to, to send the waves to you. And then, of course, there's John White and company from uh, the Spooky 2 equipment to also now the Harmony. And then also in ancient times, the more I look at things to do with frequencies and different energy, you realize that it's old, it's ancient. So the pyramids of Egypt, I realized that a lot of those hieroglyphics, if you like, around the top are actually relating to frequencies. Um, and also, I think some of you may know that some people use these, make these pyramids, these metal, not can't be a tripod, could it? Because it's a pyramid, but whatever they to do with transmitting frequencies. So that made me look into the whole thing of Egypt. And I was confused because I thought it was a tomb, but then I was told that actually it was not. Sorry, I just saw a thing that Tom Palladino passed away. Someone wrote that. I didn't know that because I was watching his videos up to very recently. Okay, may he be rewarded for the work he done. Yes, and so I mentions that churches. Yes, I believe there's lots of things to do with some of the churches, the way they're built, and what they had were to do with the frequencies as well. People say that Stonehenge is related to that, and also Machu Picchu in Peru. So, it's so is it a discovery or a recovery? I don't know. I'll let you decide. Okay, someone says John Palladino's wife is carrying on his work. Alhamdulillah, that's good to know. Um, so my understanding of scalar energy is that our cells, our body cells, communicate through a form of scalar energy. I say a form of because I don't know technically if it's exactly the same, whatever, but I understand a form of scalar energy. That's the way our body cells communicate. The energy is generally not felt, but people do notice, and depends how sensitive you are, you will notice things going on, different people. Importantly, our cells retain the memory of our optimal health settings. So if you remember, I talked about entrainment, this thing of getting your cells back on, getting your organs back on track. I think that's because as people say, although when our organs are not working well, they go off key in terms of their resonance. But because they retain the memory of that resonance, when you play the right resonance to them, it gets them back on track. I always liken it to someone not walking well, and they're stumbling, and so you take them by the hand and you say, step with me, one step at a time until they get back in rhythm. I always think of it that way. It's that thing of entrainment. So when that communication is blocked, our health suffers, So if our scalar energy and the health cells are not communicating properly, we become sick. Our mitochondria are also recharged by scalar energy or scalar fields. So just being in the field. This is just the scalar field by itself. Reduces pain and inflammation, enhances circulation, accelerates body metabolism, and improves sleep, memory, and enhances focus. Okay, so that's just a scalar field by itself. So the aha moment, aha, and I will give you my understanding of the story with how this wonderful machine came about. It says a halo generates a therapeutic scalar energy field that extends up to 3 feet, 1 meter in all directions, providing continuous on-demand support anytime, anywhere. So my understanding, for those of you who I do training for the Spooky 2, so that's why I refer to them a lot, and they are related, but they are two different companies, two different machines. But there is a machine called a Hiwi, the Microgen Hiwi, that it's a portable and wearable uh, frequency device that you can wear. And my understanding is that John White was trying to update it to and maybe change the not necessarily the look of it, but the perhaps the interface and so on. And my understanding that while he was doing that, he realized that the thing he was creating was actually producing a scalar wave. And I think he went, aha, that's my understanding, right? And led him to follow that through and come up with this aha halo. So the aha moment and the halo because it makes a circular field. So that's it there. So that's of course I could be wrong, but it's such so I've just created a legend or a myth, or I've told the truth. But so this is the halo. You can wear it around your neck, you can carry it in your bag, you can walk with it in your pocket. Okay. And you've just said this field generates it extends out to 3 feet. So if it's in your pocket, that's basically your full body length. What's in the package? Can I just ask actually, how many people on here, can you just write in the chat, if you have the halo or intending? Just say have or intending. Just could you say that in the chat and I could just have an idea how many people have and how many people have? Okay. All right, okay. Okay. All right. That's a lot. Okay, so most people have one. That's brilliant. Um, so you've seen the package, and this is what you get in the package. You get the Halo itself. You've got the user manual. You've got the Harmony cards, 3 Harmony cards, which I'll talk about a bit later. You've got the power adapter, well, the cable, and there's an adapter if you need it. Um, so that's in the box. Some of you may have brought the bag as well if you paid a bit more. Okay, most people have. Okay. So first of all, let's look at the interface. It is in obviously in the package in the manual. You'll see that not exactly like this, but you'll see this. But um, it might be a good idea to take a screenshot of this if you can, or if you're not sure. Um, the you can see that the program cycle 1 is the program cycle that tells you how far each program has a, a time on it. It might be 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 8 minutes, and that purple circular tells you how long you've gone on the program by percentages. And obviously there's a countdown as well. So 1 shows you visually how far around each program you've gone. 2 tells you what program you're running. 3 counts down the program. It will loop anyway, but it tells you how long of that cycle, right? So at least you know you've got 1 full cycle. But if you leave it on, it will just continue. 4 is what we call the breathing light. You can turn it on or off. It will, when a program's running, it will pulse. It will come on and off, if you like, slowly. But you can turn that on. That indicates to you that it's running a program, but you can turn that off if you want to turn it on and off. Excuse me. Then we have our buttons. We have our sort of circle with 4 different buttons on it. So the first one, number 5, and these ones, bear in mind that they do 2 different things. I got a call the other day. Someone asked me how do they turn it off. So I actually sent them this. I actually sent them this actual slide along with a note. So on these 4 buttons, you realize short press and long press. So each of them does two different things. A short is one thing, and then if you sort of hold it down a little bit longer, I'm not sure how long I could say, but it does two. It does the other thing. So five, the top button returns to the previous program. If you're scrolling through, and a long press turns the breathing light, number four, on and off. Six, the left side, the left button. Well, I say button, but it's one round thing with different edges, so it's not actually separate buttons. But six, return to the running or pause. If you pause the program, you can return to the program. And if you hold it longer, you can just lock the screen so it stays as it is. Number seven on the right side can start or pause the program. Start the program or pause the program. Right? That's the short thing. If it's running, it will pause. If it's not running, it will start it. And long press is to turn the device on or off. So if you want to turn the device off, that's the one you use. Just hold it down for a bit longer. And if you want to turn it on, hold it down for a bit longer. Eight, the bottom one is just the short press. Go to the next program. When you're scrolling through looking for a program, that takes you through the programs that you're running. And I'll talk about it later that you can load 30 programs onto it so you can scroll through any of them. And then underneath, you've got the charging port where you put your cable in and where you can charge it from, and also it links to your computer, right? So that's the charging port, and then B is the reset button, which if you need to reset for some reason, it's equipment isn't software glitches, so you would just use like a paper clip and push in there, open and pushing that button that will reset it. So if anything's going wrong, that might be the first thing to do. You could just reset it. Then you're back to, I don't know if you call that factory settings, but you're back to reset. Okay, so that's the interface. More of the interface. This is indications that you see sometimes on the screen display. Run is telling you what's going on in the battery, etc. So you can see that there too. And this is the software. First of all, and someone mentioned, I think in the chat earlier about I think it running well on their, was it running well on their Mac and not their Windows? Can't remember. But it runs on both Mac and Windows. And again, if I go back to your if anybody was coming over from Spooky 2, you'll know that that runs on Windows. And for people like me who are Mac users, um, I'm very glad that it runs on the Mac as well as Windows, the software. As far as I know, it's pretty much the same. I don't think there's any difference with the software, but there might be. Um, I'll come back to questions. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try and switch and show you the software. So I get this right. Ta-da. Not quite a aha moment. Now, I have to make an honest confession. Um, I only have one aha halo, and at the moment it's in Vietnam because my daughter left to go on her travels, and she's been finding it very useful. And I gave it to her thinking I'd get another one in time, which has not happened. So I won't. I'll demonstrate the software, but I won't show you my Halo connected. I apologize for that, but suppose it's like an endorsement in itself. Okay, so here we have if you connect your Halo, it will show you, it will come up here it says Halo not connected. It will show you connected, and any programs you have installed will be shown here in this empty white. It will show you all the programs you already have installed on your Halo. When you get it, it's blank. Right? So when you get it, it's blank. So let's first of all talk about loading the program. You could start by installing what we call the Quick Pack 19 recommended programs because of what they do, because of their popularity. 19 programs you could just load onto your Halo and begin using straight away. But your Halo has 30 spots. It has 30 spots, so you can. Okay, it's doing it that way. It's got 30 spots. You can load 30 of the programs on it at a time, but you could load the quick pack straight away and you can start using those. I'll go through a bit more. But also, you have the peptide library and you have the regular library, right? I'm going to sort of talk about the regular library, then I'll talk about the peptides a bit afterwards, because the peptides are newer. Um, so if you go down, you'll see that you have different. Sorry, it's not showing it side by side. I wanted to show. Can it show it side by side? Why did I have to? Oh, something like that. Oh, something like that. You still seeing it? Yeah. Um, these different, not quite squares, rectangles, um, are classifying the programs, the types of programs. Okay, so you have here comfort programs, abdominal discomfort, shoulder and neck discomfort. You have sleep programs, good sleep, loud sleep. You have beauty programs, young body, collagen, thicker hair for women. Go down some more. You have the cleansing programs. You might call them detox programs, whatever. Blood cleansing, heavy metal cleansing, liver cleansing, etc., lymphatic cleansing. Those are the cleansing programs. You have the holistic body care programs, cartilage, cells, bone, muscle and tendon, nerve radiation, scars, etc., vitamins and minerals, the vagus nerve. So these are what we call holistic body programs. Physical well-being, cough, running tummy, digestion, good near vision, good far vision. Seen those. Some more there. Urinary tract, memory, parasites, even there. So you see there. So different ones to do with physical well-being. It doesn't have a description of the program so much here, so that's uh maybe that'll come another time. Then you have emotional well-being programs, clarity and focus, motivation, relaxation, and they've got here what we call spiritual well-being. And depending where you're coming from, you may know of some of these things already. Alpha waves and beta waves and gamma waves through the brain. The Schumann resonance, which is, my understanding, the same resonance as the Earth. So if you want to do with grounding, you'd be standing on the Earth barefoot. That's grounding, and this is sort of equivalent of doing that. The Schumann resonance, I believe. You have these other ones to do with the chakras. If you know about the chakras, we've got these cosmic frequencies. The water charge I'll talk about later. The seven chakras. I know many people know of the Kundalini and may use that already. Um, and aura cleansing. So those are under spiritual well-being. Then you have the energy pathways sort of related to that. For those who, especially if you're coming from sort of Chinese medicine background and so on, then in the meridian system, then this is sort of related to that, the energy pathways, the meridian systems, and sort of boosting or boosting your energy pathways you have there. And if you're coming from an acupuncture background or something, you'll know about this as well. Uh, then you have, particularly specifically for women's care, menopause, breast care, menstrual discomforts, menstrual cups and menstrual clocks, and post-birth. Yeah, and then men's care. Men only get three. I have to talk about that. Male confidence, male reproduction, and the prostate. Um, a good one. And then the solfeggio frequencies. I honestly, I never use them. I hear a lot about them. I never actually use them, but I'm sure some of you probably use them because I understand they're quite popular. So all those are the different programs you can get from the in your software. And to add them, it's simple. Again, apologize for not having the Halo attached. You click here, you can see where I'm by the good sleep. You can see where I clicked on that. And what would happen, you could click on different ones you want to load. Remember, up to 30 can be loaded. So you can see they stay, and then you would just click the load button below. You click low. So here it says no Halo is connected to your computer. So it didn't load, but it would load them and they would show up here on the right side. But if you've already got 30, you would have to delete. And how you would do that, you would click them in the same way I clicked to add them. We click them on here and you'd push delete and they would delete, and that would leave more space for you to add. And there is a way here to update the software. I won't push it now because it might start doing all kind of funny things. But if you want to make sure your software is updated, and it's worth doing it very regularly, maybe even every time you turn on, I would say update the software because we're at that time when new programs are being added all the time, particularly the peptide programs, but not just, I believe. So I would say always do the software update, get the latest programs. So when you turn on, do the software update, make sure it may be on made it automatically for you. Um, and then you can load and delete your programs. Okay, and I said I'm going to come back to the peptide library um, shortly. You can see it's not as got as many programs in at the moment, and it's got some of the same ones in, and they're not peptide programs. But I will come back to the peptide program towards the end. Okay, but you can see it's the same. So that really is the software. It's not difficult. It's intuitive, not difficult. So it's yeah, very easy to use with a very easy to use machine. So I will go back to the presentation. I thought I would. Where am I now? I'm showing me, but am I showing? Okay, I'm trying to go back to the presentation. Here we go, share. Okay, I think we're back. I think, I'm not sure. Okay, so on the live video, we looked at loading the quick pack, deleting programs, adding programs, updating software. And again, you can take, well, I didn't mention bookmarking the program actually. Okay. And of course, it does tell you how long each program is. Um, Different programs run for different lengths of time because of the way they're made up, because of either the number of frequencies in the program or the number of peptides, as we'll talk later in that program. So they run at different for different lengths. Usually they repeat. Um, so you want to make sure you get a full cycle, but many times people just let them just continue, depending what program they're running. People may let it just run and run and run, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 times, depends what program, so you have to check. And everybody's different, so you have to work out for yourself how long you should run a program for in terms of before you feel the effects, etc. Okay, again, so you could take a screenshot of that, but I think this is also in the manual. So I said we have a regular library and we have a peptide library. Because of what I'll talk about next soon, this is from Halo itself, from the company itself, are saying um, they suggest you start with the peptide program because they're very targeted in the way they've been created. Um, but they're both very good. And some of you have been using the Halo from before the peptide library, so you'll know how good it is anyway. The other programs are. So it's just but the beginning with the peptide programs has been recommended, but we'll talk about them shortly. One of the things the you can do with the Halo is what we call imprinting. Um, I'll cover imprinting first. So, imprinting is getting the frequencies into another substance. So, for example, regularly people will imprint water, which means normally on this or other equipment, they will run the frequencies and get it into the water by either through a PEMF device, pulsed or a cold laser device, or having the TENS pads around the bottle or something like that. Whatever way you're basically playing the frequencies into the water, or sometimes into an essential oil, um, or into a piece of copper or something. You're playing the frequency into it the same way you play the frequency into your body. And what that does with the right substance, or with water, or with oils, is that substance, the water or the oil, will take the frequencies. And it's another way of getting those frequencies into your body by either rubbing the oil on your skin or drinking the water. Um, and a lot of people, that's what they do. And sometimes people will imprint what we call holographic stickers, will imprint holographic stickers and then stick them on their body. These are all ways of getting the frequencies into your body. So that's the imprinting. And you can imprint with the halo. And we also have what we call harmony cards. You see, if you get the halo, you'll see you've got three cards about the size of the halo. In a sense, you sort of imprint them by just sticking them on the back of the halo and run the program um, as normal. Have the card touching the halo or next to the halo, and it will imprint the frequencies onto the card, and then you can just walk with the card, put it in your pocket, walk with it, and you'll get the benefits of the program that you're running. Obviously, exposed to the sun or to your mobile phones and other frequencies and electromagnetic pulses and so on, it may deteriorate in the end, and you might have to recharge it if you like, um, or re-imprint it or something like that. So, but that's another way of actually getting the benefits of it. So even though it's a small device for one person, you can actually have other people. If you've got a program you think is fantastic, you could charge the card, imprint the card, and give it to people. I should have done that before letting my daughter get my go for the Halo. Uh-huh. Okay, so it tells you here, align the harmony card. Align the harmony card with the Halo. Run your program. Carry the card with you. Reuse and recharge the card anytime. Keep the card protected from direct sunlight and EMF radiation. Okay. Now I'm going to suggest, and I'll have to verify this. I don't know that I'm going to say that if you're imprinting the Harmony card, that you use the regular programs. I say this because, as far as I know, the peptide programs um, need to run in sequence. There's something about the way peptide programs run that they need to run in sequence. The peptides or amino acids, but they need to hit you in a certain um, way, in a yeah, from one to the other, and I think that's very important. So I've taken it upon myself to suggest that if you're doing the imprinting, use the regular library as opposed to the peptides. But that's something you can, and I will also check with support. Okay, it's telling you about resetting the halo in the tips and tricks there. That if something goes wrong, you can use the paper clip and to reset it if something goes wrong. Um, and avoid going through heavy shocks with it, and avoid humidity below 80% RH. I'm not even sure what RH is. Okay, someone, can you tell me? Okay, so that's about using the Harmony card. Now, there's also, it says there's a program called Water Charger, um, charging water. Now, I always talk it in my workshop. I mean, my general clinic and other workshops. I always talk about drinking water, and I say, actually, I've got it here. Got it in front of me. The dehydration is many illnesses, many when people feel sick a lot of the time, they're just dehydrated. Many times we are dehydrated. That's why we're under the weather often. Um, So most people, I always say, this need to drink more water, and people should drink the best water they can. Um, Spring water, whatever you want, whatever people know what the best water is that they can get, and or have different opinions on what the best water is, whatever. But so get the best water we can, and obviously one of those things is structured water. From so my understanding of structured water is that water coming from springs and so on is structured. I have uh I was given some little connectors, bottle connectors, and you add like I think you can see on the bottom picture there, something like that, and you have two bottles attached together, and you create a little, you spin one, and water starts to do that like kind of whirlpool thing there, and I believe that is a way of structuring water physically, and just like water going over these waterfalls is structured because of what's happening to it. And I understand, so again, you know yourselves about what you think is the best water, but it's obviously a great thing to structure water. So the way to structure water with the halo is really to put it next to a bottle or glass of water, and then to use the program that says water charger. The water charger program is for structuring water. I can't see how long it runs for. I can't see at the moment. I can't see how long the water charger runs for. Okay, but the water charger program, um, the water charger program, yeah, that you run the program, and you could run it for a couple of cycles, not just one cycle, run it for a few cycles, and it will charge the water. Now, for those of you who are more subtle and can taste, I suggest practicing, because I heard John White himself saying that he done it and he tasted the two different waters, one in the glass that was structured and one wasn't, and you could taste the difference. So I would say it's an easy experiment. I would do that. I would actually do the experiment of structuring one set of water with a halo and one set not, and see if you can taste the difference. I'm just lazy and keep forgetting to do the experiment. But you can see here, there's a picture of me charging a bottle of water there. I just tied it to it. I just tied it to it and left it running. And that was my water for the day. I should have had more really, but that was okay. So that's the water charger. So a fantastic program. So now, as I said, I'm going to talk about peptides. Because I said there are peptides. There's a peptide library, which is something new. Although the Halo is relatively new, it's just over a year, I think, going. The peptide, if you like, revolution is since the beginning of the year. The peptide programs have been added. And similarly, for those of you who know the Spooky 2, the whole the whole peptide revolution has kicked off with John Wright working extremely hard with support from some other great people on the forums. It's like you feel you're right, like that you're at the cutting edge of something that people would talk about for decades and years, and you can say I was right there. That's how it feels to me. And John White responds to what you request from him. It's really fantastic to be part of that. But anyway, I would talk about my understanding of peptides. The peptides are combinations of amino acids, and that amino acids are the building blocks of both proteins and peptides, and the peptides are, if you like, short. Why am I jumping the gun? Amino acids on their own. Amino acids can be broken down for energy, especially during fasting or intense exercise. They can be converted into glucose or fats depending on the body's needs. They are used to make many biologically important compounds such as tryptophan, tyrosine, and arginine. I've got them written down, and I think I did look at what they were. I've forgotten completely. They Amino acids help to transport nitrogen safely through the body. Okay, and most often amino acids are referred to as the building blocks of proteins. However, they're also the building blocks of peptides, which are short proteins, if you like, 2 to 50 amino acids in a row. The order in which the amino acids is combined is crucial. So for peptides, the order is not just throwing amino acids together. That's why I talked about the imprinting being not sure if it was good to imprint the peptide programs. But Uh, so the order in which amino acids are combined is very important. Okay. We have what we call essential amino acids, which I understand these are the ones the body produces itself. The essential amino acids, the body produces it. And you have the other ones that we call conditionally essential or another name, which we get from foods. Okay. Oh, it's the other way around, is it? Yeah, okay, the other way around. Okay, so one set of amino acids we get from food and one our body produces. Obviously, if our body's not producing one, we'd have to get it externally, right? And if it's not producing well, we'd have to do something. So, so those are the peptides. And my understanding is that peptides are signalers. Peptides, they send signals to the body telling it to do something. Um, like open this, close that, whatever it is. It's like it sends signals to the body. Um, and the body responds to the signals. And then the scalar, we talked about scalar being the way that the body communicates, the cells communicate. So this is the scalar, us sending the peptides via scalar is a way of providing the space for the peptides to do their work. Okay. And then so that's generally. So you have peptides which are um if you listen to people talk about peptides used for bodybuilding, losing weight, and things like that. Those are the big things they talk about all the time. And these are these oral peptides that people take and then drink them or they inject them and so on. So the peptides, and in a sense, the way they're being looked at by things like the FDA is like drugs and whether they should be approved or not, and which to some degree is understandable. But the other side is that because it just protects big pharma because you these are not you can't not copyright, what's the word they use for these things? Anyway, so what John White has done is come along and he's he's looked at uh sicknesses, ailments, diseases, symptoms or symptoms of diseases or whatever what's going on, and looked at what's going on, and he has created peptides to deal with those specific things. The airway is closed, open the airway, so it's giving the body signals to do what's needed to combat that particular disease or sickness. And he's using a combination of AI as well to be able to get them. And then he's got support from other people in the forums who are putting them into making a way that we can download them onto our software and then we can use them. That's on the Spooky too. And what he's done for the Halo, he's actually combined these peptides. So, and he talked, for example, about one for young body, which and he gave a webinar the other day, which if you can see it would be good. This is John White, and he was talking about what's in young body, and he was talking about the different peptides, that are in it. I can't even go into detail. There's lots because there's a lot of stuff. I did actually start to write them down for this presentation, but it's too much. I'll just say watch that video. If someone can, maybe Zara, you can put a link to that video in here. It would be really good for people. Um, but he talked about what's in it. So, and that is to show that all the programs, um, there's a lot into them. It's not just one peptide in them. It's a whole barrage of peptides to do with that thing. So it's not just a condition. So it's not like this is a peptide for asthma, which he has on the other program. This is a peptide for maybe, and he's putting all these different peptides into it that are related to it. So that's why these programs are so well, because they've got so many different peptides in that relate to the thing you want done, like good sleep, etc., or shoulder and neck discomfort. Um, I recently I mentioned jaundice because not with the Halo, but with the other device. I I I was treating someone the other day for jaundice remotely. And I was so confident that they would adults, and I was so confident I forgot to tell them, but I said that I started treating them on the Friday and said, they'll be discharged on Monday. And when I saw them, they were actually start discharged on Tuesday. But yeah, that's how it is. So yeah, if you can see that thing, if you see the Young Body webinar by John White, you'll understand what's in the different peptides. So the best delivery of these JW peptides is through Scalar, and the AHA Scalar is a device combining it all. It's like Rife, Scalar, and these JW peptides. It's really a fantastic, I'm saying it's really a great device to have. That's a device to have. Um, my favorite program so far. I've been using I like the Song of the Spine. I've used the neck and shoulder. I've used the water charger and the muscle and tendon, and I've used the relaxation. And those are all the ones that I've used and kind of I've got a feel for myself. In the family, the clarity and focus seems to be a favorite. The good sleep, and the menstrual discomfort, the inflammation, and the seven chakras they use. I'm not sure. I'm not in feedback so much on that, but they've been using it. The good sleep definitely. So I told you my daughter's in the Far East, and what happened? She's used these programs and has had very good results. I saw someone talking the other day, I think a man called Nick Dewey, another trainer, and he talked about using the Halo 24/7. He said he uses it in the daytime. He walks with it and uses the program he wants to use, whether it's clarity or whatever is or inflammation, whatever's going on with him at the time. And that while it's charging at nighttime, he leaves it under his pillow and runs a good sleep program. Yeah, that's was someone that I thought, okay. And my daughter has taken that on, on her travels. So, let's hear her feedback because I think it's important that she use the good sleep. Um, so I'm going to look at the Q and A. I think I am shortly. Whoops, where do you go? Yeah, okay. I wasn't looking at the chat at all going on. Okay, well, I'm going to go through the Q and A, but if you can see there, you can see the for support at ahaharmony.com is where you go to for support, and just ask whatever questions if you can't get your answer asked there. There are reviews on the website as well, and you can get the download from the website. And again, it's on your Mac or your PC. And of course, wherever you use it, what's on your Halo will come up. So you can, you could be traveling and download the program somewhere else on another machine, and when you plug in your Halo, it will show you what's on your program and so on. So you're not restricted at all to like going back to your own software. For my own self, you can see my contact details there as well. I'm in Norwich in the UK, um, and I do training on other equipment as well. So that's me. But let me go through the Q&A and see if I'm able to answer any questions. What happens when the battery needs charging? I did mention that earlier to Gene. I actually haven't come to that yet. We have to ask the support for that. In terms of how long the programs run for, the important thing is to get one cycle, and I think it depends on the like if you've got muscle discomfort, one of them runs for an hour. You know, I wouldn't just turn it off after one. I would definitely let it run. Um, I think something like the blood cleansing program, I wouldn't run more than twice. So you have to know what the kind of program it is. Um, yeah, I think the cleansing programs, I probably wouldn't want to overdo it for me personally. So this is not, maybe that's one for support, maybe someone else knows better, but I probably wouldn't run the cleansing programs more than twice. Uh, the discomfort programs I'd probably run a few times. The good sleep or something I'd run through the night. And the other ones I'd probably have the discomfort ones I'd probably run quite often. I won't say the peptide programs are more powerful than the, the regular programs. They are more targeted, so more specific, I would say. But this is not, but I'm saying there's a lot of stuff on here, so don't discount the regular programs just because I said start with the peptides. Is there a list which peptide is included in a peptide program? I don't think there is, not that I've seen one. Not that I've seen one. A few people have asked for this, so I'm sure something may come up, but maybe not. Um, propriety doesn't need to. The thing about these things is, if it works, it works. It's not harming if it doesn't work. So, you know, and I suppose if they, yeah, is there any need to? When I clicked the install the quick pack, nothing happened. Oh, from the peptides, nothing happened. Mm, I'm not sure there. That's one for support why the peptide programs weren't loading. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know why. I myself don't know why there are three types of good sleep. I was just when I started it was just the one, so I've just been using the good sleep one. I don't know. Perhaps we'll get some a release on describing when to use, but it's not out yet as far as I know. But when it is out, I'm sure we'll do another webinar. How long can you expect benefits to last? It's. I was going to say how long is a piece of string, but I think it's you know if something is getting you better, use it till you're well. Um, And then the trick is to do what it takes to stay better, isn't it? Um, we can't use it 24/7, 365 days a year. So it means that we have to, when we get better, we have to take steps to stay better. Which often means a change of habits. Someone reports about imprinting. Again, if um if this is the Halo and this is the Harmony card and run the program. That's it. Put the Harmony card next to it, run the program, and it will imprint onto the Harmony card. Harmony card. That's it. I know sometimes it seems too easy to be true. The water charger, I don't know what frequencies are being transmitted. Um, I don't know. It's probably if I can find out, but not now. But and I think even if you ask support, they might tell you because it's not. I think the frequency for water charging is known, but I can't remember off my head. Do you sit the Halo on the card or lay it on top? I don't think it matters. Can you use a card and the Halo at the same time for different programs? Yes. Will a water charger program work with iced tea and coffee? I think you have to experiment. Oh, it's coffee. Coffee, I don't know. I don't know with the coffee actually, but and with the ice. I do know that when people imprint water, one of the ways they tend to see if it's been imprinted is by freezing it. That if you have water that's imprinted and water that's not imprinted, and you freeze the two of them, you'll see different patterns in the water that's imprinted. So that's one way of testing if imprinting works. Hydrogen water machine, would the water charger program affect the hydrogen? I don't know, but I would probably actually I don't know. I was going to say I would charge the water then put hydrogen. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know there which one. I don't know what affects what. Yeah. But they're all, I mean, obviously, if you're going to hydrogenate water, then you start with the best water you can anyway. So maybe you start with the charged water before you use that charging the other bottle. I'm not sure. Can we imprint crystals or jewelry or holographic stickers? Yes, you can do you can imprint anything. Now, the thing is, how effective it is, I don't know how effective it will be on but Scalar is a very effective way of imprinting anyway. Right? It's known as a very effective way of imprinting. So even though I mentioned with the Spooky 2, I use the PEMF and the other things and the cold laser and so on. But for many people, the scalar, not this scalar, the scalar boxes with Spooky 2 are the best way of imprinting anyway. So scalar is a very good way of imprinting anyway. So you'd probably get really good results if you um if you imprint crystals, gems, or jewelry. Yeah, so I would say it's probably quite an effective way. The only thing is, of course, you're imprinting with the whole program. You're not imprinting just a particular frequency, you're imprinting the whole program. But why not? And then you can wear the crystal around your neck or something. Yeah, or jewelry. Where are we now? I can't delete the programs from my Halo. Um, just so before I said you click on them on the right side where the programs are in your Halo are showing. You click on them one by one, support them, then push the delete button at the bottom, and they should delete. If the Halo is stuck in that way, then we said your next port of call is to use the reset button. If you can't, if it's kind of stuck and there's a glitch, you can always use the reset button and then just reload the programs you want from the beginning. So that might be something to do. I can't delete the programs from my Halo. So that was that. Which program should I use for gallstones? Well, I would definitely use something to do with kidneys and liver programs. I would say, and yeah, I would start with those and see where they go, and then maybe I have to try something very specific with something else. But I would definitely start with those um, with the things to do with the kidney and liver. I would definitely start with those, and maybe the prostate as well. Yeah, I would definitely start with those, but definitely I would start with those programs. What is the function of bookmarks exactly on the software? Actually, I don't know. Sorry, I should know. I did see it, and again, I didn't even decide to check. Um, I don't know. Actually, I don't know what the bookmarks are for. Actually, how are you to use the bookmarks? Sorry about that. How should I run a program continuously? How do I know? As I said before, you don't know. You'll basically run it until you, for some of them, you run it until you feel better or till you notice some difference, and then you have to play it by ear. You have to play it by ear, and at least make sure. I would say that some programs, the cleansing programs, once or twice might be enough. Um, Anything you're not sure of, I would say make sure you do at least one full cycle. And then I would say two or three maybe is enough on lots of programs, but I don't know. And I said some, I I would run it for longer. Remember, there are cycles and there's times, by the way. The cycle is how long it takes to go through the whole program. And then some of the programs are an hour long and some of them are 10 minutes long. And then there are cycles, how many times you want to run the cycle. Um, and I would say always one cycle at least. Um, and three times if you're not sure, then twice or three times is probably enough if you're not sure. Someone's been running career luck. I hope that's going well. Okay, again, all I can say is with software, software is like it's always okay to reload software if the software's got a glitch. If you think the Halo's got a glitch itself, the equipment, then you can always reset it. So those are always the first ports of call. Reload the software, reset the Halo, and then if you've still got trouble, then I will get in touch with support. Someone's talking about their daughter has chronic illness, immune system failure. Someone's talking about their daughter. I don't know if you can all see the Q&A. But well, maybe those watch a repeat can't see actually. So about their daughter needing some help, and is there a program with Spooky 2 to offer support for that? I'm going to say that I don't know. You have to contact Halo and see directly and see what they reach out to them. Like, I would say though that there are practitioners of the Halo and the related. I talked about the Spooky 2 equipment like myself. If you can find one, I don't know where you are. I'm not sure where you're based. But if you can reach out to one of those people, like one of those practitioners who uses this and other equipment, they might be able to help you in different ways in terms of maybe giving you treatments and remote treatments and so on, or your daughter that. So I would uh reach out to Harmony, the company, and to the related, I would say, Spooky Doo company, and see if they recommend people who can help you who maybe live near you. If I imprinted 3 cards, can I carry all the cards with me? You could. You could do. I'm assuming you wouldn't run the same program. You could, yes, if someone asked if they could imprint all 3 cards. Yeah, you could imprint 3 cards and a crystal and all kind of things. Maybe running different programs and then a Halo as well. Yeah, you could do that. Um, you'd have to know why you do that. Um, the water charger charges water. Since that is the case, and their bodies are made of 70% water, should we use the water charger on our own bodies? Would that be beneficial? I'm not going to say no, but I'm going to say why. It's designed to charge the water and you're drinking water. And we need to drink water. Anyway, we need to drink how much water a day. So um, I wouldn't myself run the water charge because water changes, doesn't it, when it comes into our bodies? You digest the best water, and then the water does what it does and becomes what it becomes in our bodies. So I would just say use it externally on the water charger, then drink it. I'm not saying it would be harmful to charge your body, but I'm not saying it would be useful either. If I run out of Harmony cards, can I use stickers to imprint just as I use stickers in remote on Spooky 2? I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. Yeah. What is the Song of the Spine? It's a program. It's it's um it's a well-known set of frequencies that are put together. I don't think it's created by anyone to do with, or maybe it is to do with Spooky 2. Maybe Zara can correct me here. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But or if it's one of those it's a well-known program come from elsewhere. But it's a program of specific frequencies that work on your whole spine. So your whole back, if you like. So it's a well-known and useful program. Um, yeah. In fact, if you research it, you'll probably see the actual frequencies that are in the Song of the Spine. Which program will help with Parkinson's? There are the some of those spiritual ones are probably might help with Parkinson's. Also, don't forget that the cleansing. Don't forget that the detoxing and cleansing programs, that a lot of these things. Am I mixing up Alzheimer's with Parkinson's? I'm not sure what relationship, but a lot of these things are to do with like heavy metal detox and things like that. So I would say, you know, use all those cleansing programs, especially the heavy metal detox and things like that. They may also help. Can you run only scalar food? On your Halo, you can't run just a scalar field because it runs with the program. Um, actually, I don't know that. I don't know if you just turn on if you just turn on the your your Halo. I don't know if it's already transmitting um the scalar field or if it needs a program. I don't know. Um, how many programs can I imprint on my Harmony card? I don't know because the programs are of different sizes. So I don't actually know. I don't actually know. Um, no, I don't know there. The program I loaded into the Halo, do they run one after another automatically like the free? No, no, no. You load the 30 programs. That's just so that instead of having to every time you want to load a program, going to the software and saying, okay, I want to go and run this program now. Let me load it onto the Halo and then run it. It's saying what you can do is just load your favorite 30, and then anytime you want one, you can choose whichever one you want. But in order to keep the size of the Halo down, and you don't want to give this massive memory that can hold, 5,000 programs. It's necessary. But what you can do is choose the software will hold how many programs, but the Halo itself, you can just put your top 30 programs, and it just makes it easy to use. You can pick one. So it's only one running. The one you choose to run is the one running, and you'd have to choose another one to run the other one. So you can physically run one program and then change and run another program. That's what you do. But they don't automatically run one after the other. You run one specific program, and that interface tells you what program is running. Um, yes, the programs will kind of run will generally loop. Yeah, they will generally loop. So you have to be aware of that's why you've got the thing to countdown so you can see how far visually you can see how far the program's gone, and you can stop it after one loop, or you can see the countdown, how long, and you can say, okay, this is a 24-minute program and it's gonna loop. I'll stop it now and run something else. You can do that, but run a full loop. Would running the water charger on things like juices and soda be beneficial? Again, I can't say it wouldn't be, but but why? I'm saying, I'm saying why. I don't run the whole thing, but yeah, soda, beer, etc. Okay. Sorry, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, sorry. Just a few on the webinar chat. Someone's does the device emit the frequency of the peptide? The the peptides are turned into frequencies, if you like. There's a frequencies that emulate the peptides, and yes, it emits it that way. Okay. All right. So that's seems to be the end of the QA. Thank you for staying with me. I hope that was beneficial. And you've also raised some questions so that when we come back again, hopefully I'll have some of those questions answered, and maybe we'll have some descriptions of the of some of the programs as well. So I hope that is the case. Thank you for staying with me. Hope that was beneficial. And yeah, and again, my contact details there. If you need to contact me or ask me any questions, that's fine. And you've also got the contact details for Halo support. So thank you very much. And that's the end of the webinar. If I can find a way to stop it. I'm doing that.